Are you finding yourself perpetually running out of time for what matters most? We all, as self-employed people, intuitively know that time is our most valuable asset. Yet, we oftentimes waste a lot of it. We know time is our most valuable asset because we can always make more money, but we can't make more time, right? We can always make more money, but we can't make more time. So on today's show, Matt Klein, the OxyFresh brand developer, the OxyFresh franchise brand developer. This is one of the guys you would talk to previous to buying an OxyFresh franchise. He's not only a franchise seller, but he's also a franchisee. And on today's show, Matt Klein shares with us about how to avoid the top 5 time-wasting black holes.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrivetime Show.
3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and oh yes! On today's show, we have a beautiful man by the name of Matt Klein on the show, a man who chooses not to wear shampoo on his head while taking a shower. He prefers just to get into that shower and to wash the hair, just all natural, just using the water approach. A man who chooses to go to over 20 Denver Nuggets games per year. A guy who's living a swagalicious existence while helping people to buy a vehicle, a.k.a. a franchise that can help them achieve financial freedom for as little as $60,000. Matt Klein, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Appreciate the overzealous introduction.
Oh, man, I was
so
feeling
today.
the flow. I was riding the bull. Now, Matt, on today's show, we're going to talk about the top 5 time-wasting black holes. And we have Josh with Living Water Irrigation with us on the show. And what I'm going to do is it's kind of around the horn, to me. I'll start with you, Josh, and we'll go to Matt, okay?
Love it.
So a lot of people say, I don't have time. In fact, Lee Cockrell, the former executive vice president of Walt Disney World Resorts, look him up, Lee Cockrell, Cockerell. He managed 40,000 employees, 1 million customers a week at Walt Disney World Resorts. And he told me, Clay, the number one excuse I get from my direct reports is they say, I don't have time. Didn't have time. Couldn't find the time. Just could not find. I ran out of time. And if you found yourself today saying, I'm out of time, I'm running out of time to get things done, I'm going to share with you the top 5 time-wasting black holes and how to avoid them. All right? So number 1, according to Psychology Today, Matt, I'm going to read this to you. It'll be a nice kind of it'll feel the way it would feel if your dad read you a story. So feel that kind of ways. Here we go. According to the market research, maybe my dad read weird stories to me, but according to the market research group Nielsen, adults spend over 11 hours per day interacting with media. Now, that's up 9 hours and 32 minutes, Josh, just from 4 years ago. Of that, 11 hours, 4 hours, and 46 minutes are spent watching TV. 11 hours! According to the often cited 2016 report by Common Sense Media, teens now spend an average of 9 hours per day interacting with media, not including time spent for school or homework. Now, that's from an article called How Much Screen Time is Too Much that cites the Nielsen data. So, Josh, let's start with you. How many hours a day do you spend watching television?
Well, it depends. So this is full disclosure and transparency.
No,
so
sure,
my wife are a huge fan. We binge watch Netflix. I'll just be honest. I'm not going to sit here and lie.
12 hours a day? Or how many?
Negative. So we'll find a program, and when we've got everything done, whatever that may be, like tonight I've got a couple late appointments, so we may watch 1 episode of Yellowstone. But
Yellowstone? That's what the Kevin Costner jam?
Oh, yes. Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh, tell us about that.
We just finished Blacklist.
Does Kevin Costner choose to act in this series?
I wouldn't know if you would call it acting. It's definitely better than what I could do. Definitely better than what I could do.
No, he does like Robin Hood, the Prince of Thieves.
Oh, beautiful song.
He brought it.
Beautiful song.
Yeah, it was, what was that song that he did? It was,
I can't think of it.
It was, Matt, what was the song from Robin Hood? It was, come on now.
Oh, come on, Matt.
Matt, give it to us. It was Brian Adams.
Meatloaf.
It was Brian Adams.
No, it was Bryan Adams.
Bryan Adams, and it was
Bingo.
no, it was let me see. Oh yeah,
Everything I do, I do it for
Let me
you.
cue it up. Let me get here. It goes. Oh, come on, Brian. 1 second. Oh, come on. I want to get to the chorus. Let me get it. Here we go. Here we go. Get it. Come on, Brian. Get to the point. We have listeners here. Come on. Longest guitar solo ever. Oh, here we go. This is failing to deliver. I tell you that. We're never getting to the
Was
part.
that the instrumental?
I don't know what that was. That was like that was a. Do you remember that movie there? Did you watch that movie a lot there, Matt?
I have seen it.
Let me get to the part. Here we go. Come on, Brian. Yeah. Sing words, Brian. Come on, Brian.
That song gets me every time. Every
Oh
time.
my God. There's no love, Matt,
Like
your
your
love. Get some cowbell, Matt. And no other. Come on, Matt. Oh my gosh.
So anyway, we will. I guess we'll get back on
yeah,
track
sure,
here.
no. Man.
So we will watch a program or two. It's something we enjoy doing, but it doesn't affect me going to bed between 8 and 9. It doesn't affect me getting up by 4 or 4:30. We don't spend our lives doing so. We have other things and other priorities. I have a company to run. We have kids and grandkids.
Like you'll watch House of Cards. You're not going to just spend all your time watching.
I haven't watched House of Cards.
What's the one you watching? It's the Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
You don't spend all your time doing that. You
No,
go to
sir.
House of Cards. No, but seriously, how many hours a day do you spend watching TV?
I would say like on a day off. So like over the weekend, we watched a little OU football. Good job, OU. We watched a little OU football, not all of it. Maybe at most we'll sit for 2 hours, and then at that point I've got to get up and do something with my life.
Matt, could it be said that the top franchisees consume media, but they're not consumed by media? Would you agree that wasting time watching TV is probably not, or watching TV is probably not the top use of time for a franchisee?
Yeah, I would agree. I think, it's maybe something to get your mind off of things for a little bit, but it shouldn't be something that's searched out for large amounts of time, because you can be getting a lot of things done. I mean, I got kind of always say this. A lot of people can do a lot with an hour. Some people can do nothing with an hour, right? Just depends on how efficient you are. But yeah, I mean, if you're spending most of your time watching TV, that's time that could be spent doing other things.
Matt, how much time per week do you spend memorizing rap lyrics?
About 13 hours usually. I start on Monday and I just power through till Wednesday.
You're just decoding the lyrics. You're like, this is what Jay-Z meant by
Yeah.
this. That double entendre over there, that's nice. Okay, now top time-wasting activity number 2. And if you're scoring at home, I encourage you to take notes, because I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to break down things that I see on a daily basis coaching businesses where an owner, someone in their 30s or 40s or 50s, will tell me, Clavis, I stopped doing this, and now I have time to do that. I stopped wasting my time here, and now I'm having success. The second one here, and I'm going to start with you, Matt, on this one. Proverbs 16, 27, 29. And, Matt, I know you've memorized the entire Old and New Testament, but I'll just read it to you. It says, idle hands are the devil's workshop. Idle lips are his mouthpiece. An evil man sows strife, gossip, and separates the best of friends. Wickedness loves company and leads others into sin. I find this a lot, that not necessarily with OxyFresh franchisees. I'm just saying other franchisees that I've coached. It seems like the ones that are struggling the most call corporate with the most complaints to compensate for the fact that they're doing nothing. Would you agree with that, that the ones who tend to gossip the most are the ones who tend to struggle the most? Have you seen any type of parallel there?
Absolutely. I think this is one of the most detrimental things that you could ever happen to a business. Right? If you spend time trying to find a group of people that is in the same position as you, where you guys can complain about the situation instead of finding a group of people that will actually get you out of that hole, then you're going to stay there. Right? And I think that's for any business. It's not just franchising. We see it sometimes, right? Not every single day is going to be perfect, but if you spend a good majority of your time around negative people and negative comments, you're never going to pull yourself out of that. And if you're the one charging that, you've already lost, right? So there's a lot of things you can do. That is one of the biggest waste of time that I personally see is people focusing on the negative things instead of trying to make their business better. And if you're in a franchise system specifically, you should be utilizing the people that are doing well and getting them into your corner instead of the very small number of people that aren't doing well. And typically they'll say on their own account why they're not doing well, and it's usually effort. If you spend the time that you have complaining and not doing the things that are going to help your business, you are going to see negative results.
Oof. Think about that, Thrive Nation. How much time did you spend last week watching TV? Go ahead and write down a number. You might say, Clay, I didn't watch TV. I watched Netflix on my laptop. Okay, fine. How much time did you spend consuming media? Because right now, according to Nielsen, we're up, folks, over 11 hours per day interacting with media. That's up from 9 hours and 32 minutes just 4 years ago. Josh, talk to me about this complaining, gossiping, talking about the negative economy, complaining about legislation that's not being done, complaining about Trump-tastic, being upset about the abominations that happened 4 years ago, the Trump-tastic things that are happening now, complaining about a wall, complaining about the state economy. Talk to me about just complaining. How big of a problem is that?
Sure. So whatever you focus on is what you become. So whatever we go scriptural here, but we'll keep it kind of secular. But whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're meditating on is what you ultimately will be. So if you're in that group of people, in that little doom loop, like you say, Clay, if you're in that group of people that's whining about what Sally did, and then Betty showed up late, and then Susie didn't like my Facebook post, and then Billy Bob, he didn't wave at me. And
he's brutal.
So if you get these group of people surrounding you that all they're doing is whining and complaining at all, then I guarantee you they're all broke or pretty close. Because negativity attracts negativity, but positivity attracts positivity. And if you want to be successful, you're going to have to shift your mindset to that of gratitude and that of positivity and that of finding the wonderful things that there are in this life, as opposed to the fact that the world's not perfect.
So you don't think that because the world's not perfect, I shouldn't spend my whole day going on Facebook, writing a haiku or a poem and posting a picture of a sad gray cloud and tagging Matt Klein and saying, "Don't you agree, Matt?" You don't think I should do that?
No, I don't think that's the move. But then the other side of that, the antithesis of that, is the folks on social media that their life is perfect. So let's just be honest and real and transparent, folks, and let's live our lives in the place that we're at and find people around us who can help lift us up and motivate us and inspire us and want to do better, instead of taking a photo that you're on a beach somewhere whenever you just grab some sand from the Home Depot and dumped it in your backyard.
A lot of times will post my head on Fabio's body after Matt helps me for about 3 or 4 hours doing the Photoshop. Matt's really good on the Photoshop. Man. Matt, are you still right-handed?
I am still right-handed.
Yeah, Matt's ability to just hold that mouse and precisely, Matt, on Photoshop, you do that little eraser tool you're so good at. He'll erase the various parts of my head. My head fits right on top of Fabio's body.
Have you not told Matt about the new one that you have when it's on his body, Clay? You should tell him.
That's not new. That's a repetitive addiction that I have to stop. All right, so now we move on. So Matt, this is the next top time-wasting activity. It's when you hire family or friends or just somebody and they're not functional. It's just somebody who doesn't get the job done. You refuse to fire idiots and dysfunctional family members. And Dr. Zellner will rejoin us next week. He's been out the last couple of weeks because since the studio flooded, we've been broadcasting more from the offices. Our schedules are kind of not linked together. But we go back next week into the Man Cave studios. But I interviewed Dr. Z, and I said, Dr. Z, what would you do if you have a member of your family on your payroll that is not functional? And you can't fire them. You feel like you have to keep paying them. What would you do? And Dr. Z wanted to record a little word of encouragement for you. So, Matt, I'm going to hit play. I'm going to play it. Just marinate on it. Kind of take some notes. Just let it happen. It'll take about 25 seconds. And then, Matt, you're just going to come in hot with a hot take here. Are you ready, Matt?
I am ready.
Here we go. Is there anything wrong with giving family members a faux job? Like I've given family members a job, and I'm sure you've never done this, but I've actually given them a job where I say,
family members money not to come in. I pay family members money not to come in. Money not to come in.
Wiggling it. See.
I pay family members money not to come in. Money not to come in.
Wiggling it. See.
I pay family members money not to come in. Money not to come in.
Wiggling it. See. Wiggle it. You start with just touching the canvas.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
wanna, you know what? That deserves a cowbell. I've done that. Yes, we've never
Yes.
talked about that move, but that
Yes.
is a great move. Matt, I don't know why Bob Ross is talking about wiggling it during that sound clip, but beyond the Bob Ross, what are your thoughts about paying family members not to show up if you do actually refuse to fire them? And talk to me about this idea of not firing dysfunctional people.
I don't really live. You just have to fire people if they're dysfunctional. The hard part is you should know. Most people that go into the family system and they want to hire, you already know what the results are going to be. You're just hoping and wishing that they're going to be different, right? So it's very hard. I've gone down this road. I think everyone that's owned a small business in some capacity has gone down this road. If they're doing it currently, it's because they've been. It doesn't mean that you can't work very well with some family members, but at the same time, you're trying to get to a goal. And I agree with Dr. Zellner. I mean, sometimes it would actually benefit you on a financial standpoint to pay someone not to come in. And I think that goes for family, goes for friends, goes for anybody that's going to hurt your business rather than help it. So the family and friends is you better know who that person is or put a buffer in between them so that they can actually, they can be fired off of performance, not stay because of a relationship.
Do you still have the policy where you will not hire active members of the jihad, pro-jihad organizations? Do you still have that hardline policy there at OxyFresh where
That's
you
pretty
personally,
hardline.
Matt, you say, I'm not going to hire members of Hezbollah? Do you still do that, or are you still kind of on the fence there? Well, I didn't know what your policy was there.
In the current climate of things, we kind of have to do, if they're not gone down the road of Hezbollah yet.
So your family members who are active members of the jihadi Hezbollah group, you won't hire those people?
Nope, but it's actually not because they're jihadi. It's just because they're
Okay. I wasn't sure if you had a passive-aggressive approach where you're like, hey, here's the deal. As my newest hire, we're going to do a carpet cleaning today on a minefield. So you're going to run out there and try to clean those mines.
Be amazed how many people do call me from the Middle East, though.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, okay. So now we move on now.
Right,
Time-wasting activity number 4. Stop lamenting about hostile competitors and emotionalizing complaints. So I'm sure you've never run into this before, Matt Klein, but you know how there might be a competitor who leaves a bad review, but they have not used your service in the past. So as a negative marketing move, they go in and write a 2-page, it's almost like a piece of it's like a Shakespearean piece of artwork. They're writing some really hot literature that's 100% fictional, saying about how bad your company is, and if people knew the real truth. The fake Glassdoor reviews are my favorites, or the trolls who write false negative things on Reddit or Glassdoor or Google or Facebook. Matt, help somebody out there that's still emotionalizing the last negative review they got.
Yeah, this one's pretty easy for me. If you have somebody that you're competing with that is going out of their way to hurt your business, they themselves have already lost the game. So just don't play it with them, right? While they're giving you more traction and web traffic and giving you more reviews, even though negative, right? All you have to do is just bury it with 10 reviews. Just bury reviews. They've helped you. They've made that number higher. If you go into that game where you're going to go back and forth, then they just won that one, right? Again, spend your time on things that are going to help your business. Hurting someone else's business is not actually going to help your business. It's taking time away from what you can be doing to help your business.
I remember
Do not go down that road. It's going to hurt you.
I remember JB asked me to come up to Denver when John decided to hire you, and he said, Clay, you got to meet Matt. This is a great new guy we brought on, and Matt and I got to talking, and I don't know if you remember this or if you blacked out due to just your unbelievable empathy for me at the time, but I said, Matt, somebody's written a bad review about my podcast. And I remember you were like, hey, buddy, you just got to let it go. Just let it flow. They've already lost the game if they're writing negative reviews about you. And I'm just saying, Matt, this is audio of me where I really hit the low point. And I'd like for you to share, if you remember, what you said to me to pull me out of the trenches, because I was lamenting. Let me cue up the audio real quick. Let me get this is me. I was by the printer. If you remember, I was by the printer, and I think JB had said, could you print me a document? And I said, yes, I shall print you the document. What document do you want? And then he said, what do you want? And then Chris looks at JB and says, Clay, we would like for you to print off the franchise disclosure document. We had a recent franchisee inquire about buying a franchise, and if you could just print off the document, they will be here for a discovery day. And JB can't remember this. You probably can't remember this. I know Chris doesn't. A lot of people will even deny this happened, but I go to get it off the printer, and I was still subconsciously, Matt, still lamenting about the bad review I got on my podcast. And this is me, and I'll cut it off, and then you can tell me what you said to me to pull me out of my doom loop. So this was me right when I realized that the printer, you know the error code, Matt, the freaking error code on that community printer, that error code? Mm-hmm. Oh, that error code was going off. And something about that mixed with my dystopia caused for me being still upset about this false allegation on the bad review. I hit print. It would not print. And this is what I said.
Then as you're crying, what happens is it starts to feel good that you're crying like that.
That was you kind of coaching me through it. You're like, Clay, as you're crying, it's going to start to feel good.
And what you do is you latch on to one phrase that you just repeat over.
And I'm like, that's so true, Matt. I do that.
Over again. Just something that means something to you. You're like, I did my best. I did my best.
Do you remember that, Matt? What did you say to get me out of that doom loop?
I didn't say you did your best. I said grow up.
Oh, my bad.
That's what it was.
And the problem was I couldn't hear you because I was so engaged by the Ladies' Home Journal article I was reading that I couldn't quite pay attention. I was making myself a potpourri basket using recycled parts from around the house from that incredible Ladies' Home Journal article I was reading as a way to sort of coach my tortured soul. You said just grow up? Is that what you said?
Yeah. You don't remember that?
No.
You started crying more after I said that, but then you got it together.
No, I remember because right after you said that, I remember saying,
I did my best. I did my best.
And it was just this weird interaction. And I ended up waking up. I woke up. I had one black eye and several lash marks and a note that said, your special friend, grow up. And it was signed M-Town.
Me.
You don't remember that? Okay.
Exactly how I remember it.
Okay. All right. Fine. All right. So, Josh, what would you say for somebody who's in their 40s, their 30s, and they still can't get over the false bad review?
Well, that was really powerful what Matt said of just grow up. I mean, it is
so mean though.
It's really, I don't know, taboo to say it these days, but maybe a little suck it up, Buttercup. I mean, it's not. Nobody can make you mad. Nobody can make you sad. Nobody can make you respond in a negative way. It's what you choose to do. So if things aren't going well, choose to find the positive thing that you can do and the positive outlet you can do. And whatever that may be for you, maybe it is building a beautiful potpourri basket, or maybe it is going to a Nuggets game, or maybe it's going and hitting some golf balls. Maybe it's telling your wife you love her and holding her while you cry on her shoulder, whatever that may be. But just get over it and not quit being offended and having your feelings hurt, because if somebody says something negative about you, their power is only in how you let it affect you. That's it. So just grow up.
Now, Matt, this final time waster, it seems nice. It seems good. It seems like a good use of activity. You may say to yourself, wow, this seems like a good thing I should be doing. It is top time-wasting activity number 5. Networking with broke people and spending hours of prime time meeting with men or women without money at local luncheons. So it starts off like, Matt, could we meet for lunch? I have, as a group of men, a group of women, we are gathered together on behalf of the greater Lakewood community to raise money to help support people who are upset about the recent election results. Some are in favor of medical marijuana, some are not, but the people who are not in favor of it are meeting to have a review of House Bill 723-4, and there's going to be great cheese cubes. There'll be a lot of realtors there, a lot of MLMers, a lot of multi-level people there, a lot of no money down real estate people there. They all have various business cards, all of which state that they are the CEOs. A lot of CEOs will be in attendance, Matt. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. We will speed network. Matt, talk to me about drawing boundaries for what kind of events you should and should not attend.
Yeah, this one is it's a big time sucker. If you spend a lot of time in BNI groups, and those can be very valuable if you do them correctly and you spend the time to get to the decision maker. If you're just milling around and having conversations, spending money on cocktails you don't need, right, and you're never going to get anything from them, then you're just basically, you're just paying for a new friend. But if you can actually get to that end decision maker of whatever you're trying to do, whether you're trying to sell a product, whether you're trying to sell a house, whether you're trying to get into property managers like us, right, if you need to get to that end decision maker as fast as possible, because the more time you spend just milling around these things, that's time that you could have been doing, whether it's training your employees or whether it's looking at your actual marketing budget, whether it's looking at how you're actually performing on a local level with your customers, right? Because you can go out, at least for us, this is easy to us, because if you're not getting results in a BNI, just walk your butt down to a property management company and go have a conversation with them, because that's who you're trying to get in touch with anyways, right? So for us, at least in an OxyFresh standpoint, spend the money or spend the time where you're going to get the best results. And for us, it's finding the decision maker as fast as possible.
Matt, I don't know what it is about you. There's something about the way Matt looks tonight that takes my breath away. Did you use shampoo or something today, or what's the deal?
I used it today because.
What? You think you know somebody? You think you know them? You go on a show like this, you put yourself out there telling people you don't use shampoo, you're going natural, and then you now switch it up and use shampoo? What? Why?
Well, I lied. I didn't even take a shower today, so that was just a complete lie.
Oh, yes, the hits keep coming. If you're interested in buying an OxyFresh franchise, and I know you are, go to thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh. thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh. Matt, how many OxyFresh locations are in operation right now?
We're just at 400. Just reached it. We had a very, very good month on this last month we had 3 current franchisees expand to multiple territories, which is very good. And then we had about 3 new franchisees come in the system. So very exciting. We're right at that tipping number. I think by the end of the year, we should acquire and have about 20 more actual territories in operation by the end of the year.
I was looking at my show notes. I didn't have a chance to ask you this, but I'll just kind of let you think about it. The note I wrote says, remember to ask Matt Klein why he has only sold 400 locations when a real man would have sold 600. I don't know why I wrote that. I don't know who wrote it, though.
We're searching for those guys that can, that can outperform us.
You are a great American.
I can just go sit Mai Tais on the beach.
You are a great American. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Have an awesome day.
See you, boss. And now, without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom!
Attend the world's best business workshop led by America's #1 business coach for free by subscribing on iTunes and leaving us an objective review. Claim your tickets by emailing us proof that you did it and your contact information to info@thrivetimeshow.com.
Darren, is this the amazing Darren?
This is the one and only.
One and only Darren. Hey, man, this is Eric Chupp from over at the Thrivetime Show.
Hey, you're bothering me. I'm reading Jackassery while I'm getting a tire change. Honest to God, I've got a highlighter. A green highlighter for quotes and a pink highlighter for content. I'm literally reading Jackassery as I'm waiting for my tire to get changed.
Good. Okay, here we go. Question 1 here. So what is your name and where are you from?
My name's Darren Ross. I'm from Kearney, Missouri, home of Jesse James.
Home of Jesse James. I did not know that. You educated me already. How did you originally hear about the Thrivetime Show workshop?
I've been listening to all his podcasts like crazy and going, awesome. That dude's pretty funny.
It's very funny. It's very funny. Well, if you've heard some goober on there they call Chupp, that's me. That's my last name. And so you'll probably hear me chiming in with some stuff pretty soon. But yeah, CHUPP, that's me. So
I listen to my podcast on my iPhone.
Yes.
And for some reason on iTunes, I don't know, it's stops with season 5, but I guess you can get them all online. Is that correct?
That's the way. Yeah, they take them off after a certain number, and he records so much content that it only goes back that far. But they're all posted on the website that you can get to for free as well.
I did not know that iTunes took them off.
Yeah, it only loads up so many of them, and then so that's why we make sure and host them on the website as well, so that you got access to all of them.
Yeah, I told him the other day. I spent some time with Clay Friday, Saturday morning, I guess, beforehand.
Oh, cool.
I got there about 6:30, and I was just telling him. I said, we sold our company. I started a company in my dorm room selling apparel, custom apparel, and promotional products to the fraternity and sorority market, and we ran that business for like almost 31 years, and I sold it at the end of 17, and I've been literally to, I can't even tell you how many seminars, conferences, coaching programs, courses, masterminds. I probably spent 180 to 220 grand over the years. And I told my wife and even my mom, I said, this is the best 2-day one. This is the best conference I've ever been to, even though it was only 2 days and driving distance and $37. I'm like, right. So I bought everything. I bought every book he had except the one. I think there was one I didn't buy, but
that's great.
Yeah, it's so practical. It's just all of them want to sell you the next seminar and the next coaching program, and
well, I tell you,
just didn't feel like.
Clay, Clay, he built this program for business owners by business owners, kind of like FUBU, right? For us, by us.
Yeah.
Because he was the exact same place you were, right? He went to all these seminars and experienced all the upsells, all this crap, and he's like, why can somebody just not tell me what to do? I just want somebody to tell me what to do. So I'm glad to hear that.
I know, man. And, it's funny because I have literally spent, I've known for the last several years I want to get into some sort of mentoring and training or coaching entrepreneurs because I just knew that they're missing something. Yeah. And I was having a gal build me a website, a WordPress website back in February. And she had sent me 2 or 3 different sites to look at just for ideas and content because I wanted to kind of have the core of it on how to grow your business while keeping faith and family first. So that was kind of my niche. And she sent me 3 or 4 websites, and your all's was one of them. And I'm like, who is this? I've never even heard of Clay Clark. I've never even heard of Thrive.
Wow.
And I looked at it. I'm like, this is the coolest freaking thing I've ever seen. So I signed up for the conference within just a matter of a few days.
That's
and then,
awesome.
Of course, I started listening to his website, started listening to all his podcasts in March. But I'm like, this is spot on. It's no fluff and no crap. It's just straight to the point.
That is awesome. Well,
and I've been I jumped on the podcast probably back in March of 2019, and I've probably listened to 75 of them since then and listened to about 2 a day.
That's awesome. That's where all the meat is, right on the bone right there, right? The podcast has so much information on it.
That's true.
Well, what kind of business do you guys have, and what were you looking to learn at the workshop?
Well, actually, I sold our company. I started a company in my dorm room in 1987. We grew it and built it over about almost 31 years. We did custom apparel and promotional items. We manufactured those items for different organizations and associations, college fraternities and sororities. So I sold that business at the end of 17. So actually, I'm kind of in limbo right now trying to figure out my next move.
But you are probably a kindred spirit with Clay on the college entrepreneurship.
Very much so. I started in my dorm room. I had a phone booth literally right next to my dorm. That's where I conducted all my business on a payphone for the first several months.
That's amazing. Well, how would you describe the atmosphere of Clay's office and team?
You know what? My wife, I'm going to tell you this. My wife's not a conference goer, but she came with me. And I literally had to beg her. It was our anniversary. June 7th was our anniversary. I literally had to beg her. You got her to our conference
on your anniversary.
On my 22nd wedding anniversary.
You wild man.
You got to come. We were at the Holiday Inn Express like 5 minutes away. I said, you got to come. She's like, I'm not coming. I'm like, you got to come. I was texting her. So I finally got her to come. I said, just come over lunch. I said, you can even sit here. So she came, and literally she had tears in her eyes because she was crying so hard at some of the stuff Clay was doing. But I've always been a person that I love cool company Christian culture. That's my deal. I love companies that have cool company Christian. So I have a phone full of pictures and videos of just the office atmosphere alone, because that was one of the coolest things about the whole deal, is just the office atmosphere.
It's very intentional, right? Like you can tell some thought went into everything, and there's stuff everywhere, right?
Stuff everywhere, quotes all over the place, frames all over the place, in the bathrooms. I mean, I've never seen anything like. And I've been to a lot of cool companies. I had the inside private tour of Dave Ramsey's organization several years ago, and I've been to a lot of places over my lifetime and businesses, and it's probably the coolest one I've been to.
Well, that is great to hear. It wasn't on accident, and so we really tried to build that inviting and kind of high energy, high pace, really cool, eclectic environment because we know like we got to keep everybody on their toes to learn, and we want to laugh and learn. So I love hearing that from you.
I was laughing.
That's good. How would you describe Clay's delivery and presentation style?
Off the charts. I mean, just kind of basically leaving you wanting more and more all the time. I mean, I had just pages and pages of notes, and there was never a dull or boring moment, and it was all just nuts and bolts, man. There was no fluff. It was just all straight to the point that any business owner can listen, learn, and apply.
What is one of the most valuable things that you did learn while you were at this workshop this past weekend?
Just the importance of the search engine and website optimization.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't really. I mean, we've fiddled around with websites over the past, but never really got much, if any, business from them. It was just one of those deals where we felt like it was a necessary evil, and we always looked at it as a necessary evil. But now that I have dug into your all site and look how well it's put together, and I've even checked out some of the sites of people that you had at the conference or that I met at the conference, and it is true. They all are on the definitely first page of Google, and usually within the first one or two people after the paid ads.
Oh yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I never heard about. I'd heard of. Obviously, I heard of Google reviews and video reviews, but I never knew the importance of them, and I never had heard the term canonical compliance and all that. So
very good. Canonical compliance. That's getting into the technicalities right there, isn't it?
But it's just, and I spent some time with your SEO guy Ben and a couple other folks, and they just kind of broke a few things down. I'm like, it really is important.
And the cool thing is, it's every other SEO company I've ever talked to or I've heard from or of, they all like put this cloud around it, and it's this mystic type of thing, and like Clay is breaking it down to no, you do this, this, and this, and you can control these things, and you'll be topping Google before you know it.
Well, I'm going to just tell you this. When I was in business several years ago, we had hired a company back in the early 2000s, right when the internet was coming on strong, and we'd hired a company to do a really killer website for us. And, of course, I had a consultant on staff, and the consultant, I was paying them, and they said, you need to have this cool website built. So we spent like $85,000, and it never worked. And at the same time, the consulting company said, oh, by the way, you need to have this really cool ERP system, which takes care of everything, accounting, order entry. So we had an ERP system being built, a website being built. Neither one of them worked worth a darn. So we walked away with about $170,000 less in our pocket. And to be honest with you, straight up front, I've always had a really bad taste in my mouth about technical and web people.
Yeah.
So we built our business over the first 10 or 15 years on catalog direct mail. So I was like, I don't need web. I don't need the internet. I'm going to keep going internet or keep going direct mail. But I just got to put that behind me and listen, learn from the lessons and move on.
There you go. You check the fruit on the tree first, right? That's
right. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you too. How many conferences have you been to, and how much did those cost you? And like, how did they?
You know what?
In the past,
I've got a spreadsheet. I'm not at my office right now. Okay. I've got it right on the front page of my Mac, on the desktop of my Mac. I have courses I've purchased, and courses and/or conferences. And do you want just conferences only, or
everything?
Oh, my gosh. Probably, if you were to add up courses, conferences, coaching, and masterminds, I would say, excluding travel, probably 200,000. And that's probably 75 of them.
That's a pretty penny right there, huh?
That's a lot, yeah. And I wish I had that back, and I just heard about Clay about 25 years ago, but then he would only been like 13,
Yeah, or maybe 8. I don't even know. Yeah. Well, that's awesome, and I appreciate you saying that. My last question for you here is, why, in your mind, does everybody need to attend at least one Thrivetime Show workshop?
Because what they're currently exposed to or what they've been learning is probably not the right information and the right content or the right way to go about it. And if they were to attend a Thrivetime workshop, I think they would just be blown away at the simplicity and the how easy it is to break it all down and implement it. And then the big thing is to have someone like your all's team, for what you all charge per month is a bargain. And I even asked people, I said, does it really include this, and this? They're like, oh yeah, they do everything for us.
Yeah.
So
design,
I think that's
videography, photography, you name it.
Yeah, I mean, what you all are charging a month for some of this stuff, I mean, that, you could spend that on a 5 or 6 minute video.
Yeah, easily.
If you hired a videographer. So, I don't know. I told my wife the other day, or my mom too, I said, I'm going back. I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to come back down there. I told my wife also, I said, I just want to start a business so I can have these guys help me implement everything. Well, I've never had anybody. Huh?
I was gonna say that's the best endorsement we could get right there. I think that's.
Yeah, it was so cool. The wow factor was there that I was like, I want to get a new business started. And and Clay talked to me when we talked before that conference on Saturday. He said, hey, have you ever thought about franchising? He said it might be a good option. And I'm like, I never really gave it a thought because I always ran my own show and.
Right.
But the systems are all built and right there in place for you. So I don't know. I'm kind of kicking that around too, but.
Well, that might be a good move for you, my friend. So
it could be.
All right, I'm gonna cut the jackassery out now. We'll let you get back to doing your diligent reading that you're doing there. But Dan, I just wanted to say thank you first and foremost for coming to the conference and being a diligent doer, and really, really appreciate the time that you took to talk to me about this and kind of give us an overview of what you thought about the workshop.
Well, I'll plan on being back to another one. It'll probably be August or October.
Oh, that's great, man. Well, hey, since Clay's going to turn this into a show, I'm going to count backwards from 3. We're going to do a 3, 2, 1, boom, okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.
Wow.
So you're now a podcast celebrity.
I was just listening this morning. Does he really do 9 a week?
Uh-huh. Yeah, when we first started, I probably did, let's see, I was going over there 6 days a week with him. He was recording from his basement. He had a studio set up over there. And we would record Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights, Fridays at like 2 or something, and then Saturday and Sunday mornings at 5 or 6 o'clock. And, man, me and him did that for 10 months, 9 months.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, we were putting out an insane amount of content. He's kind of scaled back a little bit, but he records 5 days a week and anywhere from 8 to 12 episodes every single week.
Every single week or every single day?
Every single week.
Oh. That's just, I was listening to one this morning. He said he was recording at the office because his home studio got flooded out.
Yep, 4 feet of water in his basement. It flooded our entire radio studio down there.
Oh, Billy.
That's horrible.
It was awful. And then the very next day, the river was coming up so high here from the Keystone Dam overflow that we had to evacuate the entire building like 2 days after that because they thought our building was going to flood too. And so he was like, we literally pulled everything that was in this office. We pulled it out. Because we were like, we can't have the house and the office flooding at the same time. We can't have that. So,
and this was going to be a question I was going to write on the board when I come to the next conference. But how come he doesn't do like most online marketers, where when you go to your website, an opt-in box pops up, and then he keeps dripping you content and information every week? How come he doesn't do something like that?
He has, at this point, number one is to remember that him and Z built this as not the way to feed their family. This is like their passion project. So, therefore, we are extremely selective about who we take on as a client and, to be honest with you, who we allow to come to the conference. We turn down a lot of people for the conference every 2 months, and we turn down
Do you really?
Yeah, because we're a business and we have to operate with margins and profit and all that stuff, but we like to keep a 160 client roster. And so Clay's very guarded about who he lets inside what he calls a circle, or the dojo of mojo, the garden of Zen up here, you know. And so we don't necessarily want to be out in everybody's face with pop-ups and drip campaigns and all that stuff. We are very selective about who we work with because he has decided to design it that way. But we're not trying to mass produce and get 4,000 clients, right? We're trying to stick with in our 160 client roster, but he doesn't want to get any bigger than that. So we don't really do all the other marketing methods that we would teach clients. But that is the same stuff that he did with the wedding photography company or the DJ company or the wedding show and all the other things that he's been, Elephant in the Room and all the other businesses.
So he uses more drip campaigns on those kind of things than this.
Yeah, and one of the we're not too huge on the automated stuff. It's just kind of like pick your 3 or 4 marketing legs that are working, and then what typically that's enough. The main problem is that team members aren't following up with the kind of like assertive attitude that they need to be following up, like the urgency of actual business. So that's typically what we find is that, you know, a lot of companies are getting leads. They're just not getting a hold of those leads, and it's all about calling them fast and calling them often.
Well, yeah, I mean, your people, I've had just 2 or 3 questions over the last 4 or 5 months on just whether it's conference questions or whatever. And heck, man, I always had either a phone call or an email. And it's like most people have a contact form or something. And half the time you're never going to hear from anybody.
Never heard from you guys in 7 years. Is anybody there? Hello, is this thing on?
Yeah. And, you know, the conference wasn't real formal. I mean, it wasn't like you had to stand in line. They had to do a cavity search to make sure you're the right person that signed up. And I walk in and what's her name? Not Amanda. Abby. She's like, oh, let me find your seat. And I'm like, it's just a different experience than most.
That's awesome. That's what we're trying to create, so I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, it is. No, but I plan on coming back. It'll probably be October, but
okay.
I'm hopefully by then I'll have something lined up.
Sounds awesome, man. That's good. Well, hey, I'll let you get back to reading your book. Anything else, you reach out to us. But enjoy those podcasts, and we can't wait to see you again, my friend.
My name is Jay Schroeder, and I am from Nashville, Tennessee. A lady I used for coaching told her I was looking for some sort of conference to get my mind thinking about business, and she found this, and I just flew out here a week later. No, I didn't think it was a scam. It piqued my interest because it's how I think. I think entrepreneurially, and it just, to me, right away it clicked. I've learned that our systems are not exactly where they need to be, and what we need to do, there's a plan in place. He has a plan in place to get you from where you are to where you need to go. It's great, man. It's not your typical corporate. It's got a phenomenal vibe. I love all the sayings on the wall. I love it. Love the smell. The smell outside is great. I love it. It's casual, but yeah, he knows exactly what he's talking about. There's nothing worse than standing and walking, listening to a guy in a suit, rambling at you. Love it. Great presentation. Yeah, interaction's great. You definitely feel comfortable asking a question if you need to. Questions from the rest of the people in the audience also helps. I mean, maybe stimulate more questions that you have. If you have an entrepreneurial mindset and you're trying to get from where you are to where you want to go, you have to come to this. They don't need to upsell it. Their product speaks for itself. If it's what you're looking for, it's what you're looking for. I would recommend it to anyone who wants to build their brand, build their business. Just the day, not even 2-day session yet. I mean, I've already got 100 ideas that I want to implement, and yeah, I'd recommend it for anyone who has an entrepreneurial mindset and who wants to build their business.
I am Carlos Plowd, and I am from Anaheim, California. I originally heard about it through Robert Redmond, which is my business coach, and he offered it to me for free in one of our sessions. I own TCP Commercial Contractors. I was just looking to learn better systems and better ways to structure my company to support growth. It was very exciting, very energetic, motivating, and inspiring. A lot of good people, a lot of good place to network. Clay's very funny, a lot of jokes. constantly laughing but making good points and setting examples. One of the most valuable things is just not beating around the bush about getting rid of people that need to get out of the company, people that's costing you money. A lot of people are out for their selfish ambitions, and you don't want those type of people ruining your dream. My favorite aspect of the workshop is that the notes and the book and everything set up to where if you do miss something, there's always a backup way to get to it. Well, they are missing out on all the stuff that they think they know, but they don't know, and just having the atmosphere and the circle of people around you that's going to influence you, help you, and teach you the systems that you're going to need to know to get yourself to the next level.
My name is Austin Farr, and I am from Owensboro, Kentucky. I heard about the workshop from Pastor Brian Gibson. Clay actually came to church and spoke, and that was kind of where we were introduced to him and listened to him 6 days out of the week on the podcast. I own a carpet cleaning company, and I was looking forward to actually listening to John speak because he's in that same industry, and just taking away the different ways to reach customers, and the Purple Cow, and also the no-brainer was a big thing for me. The atmosphere here, when I walked in, I had seen pictures of it, and I was really anticipating getting to come here, but it's like super positive, inspiration, and it's like a great place just to hang out. Clay's delivery and his style is very like, I know what I'm talking about. Like, he's really good at it, and it really is like attention grabbing, and I like it because when he's on something, he's really fixated, and he like doesn't get off of it until he's finished. One of the most valuable things I've learned, I think, is just in general putting systems to work and actually put them in place and making them happen. If people do not attend this, I think they're actually losing out on ways to get free information, giving you an action step just to make your business work. So everybody needs to attend at least one Thrivetime show workshop because it will change your life.